This video is made with the sponsorship of Ecrotech New Zealand, one source for all your beekeeping requirements. Hi, Trev here from Trevs Bees on Facebook and YouTube. As a result of a thread that was on New Zealand Beekeeping Forum, or NZ Bees Forum, someone was asking some questions about placement of Propolis mats. We've talked about Propolis in a long previous video about where I scrape all my boxes and I sell all that Propolis back. But you can also encourage the bees to put Propolis where you want them to put it. And to that end, you can buy hive mats, Propolis mats. Now, this is the standard one. When you put it on top of the hive, the bees can only get at the underneath side of it. And you put them on with this ridge frame downwards. And the bees will then go up there and create Propolis. You can also use this new version that Ecrotech have put out. And it's got these 4 cutouts here so that when you put a top feeder on, the bees can still get up here to get to the central area of the top feeder. Some people also use these sort of a windbreak cloth, windbreak plastic. I'm not really quite sure what the material was designed for, but they put that on the hive and the bees will Propolis onto that quite happily as well. Has the same effect. It's got holes that the bees can't get through, yet because it upsets their bee space, they then gung it up with Propolis. I don't like them because these come with a preset in them, and if you don't strap your hives down tight, they'll actually create a little bit of a bend like that. But that's okay. If you like those, that's fine. Now, I've got here a Propolis mat that I've taken off a hive, and this is what I call a full mat. It's only about 3/4 plus full, 80% maybe, a bit more, but that's fine. I don't want it to be fully covered, because if it's fully covered, then perhaps I've missed out on some Propolis that I could have harvested. So if I take it off a little bit earlier, the bees will start working on it again. So I send these away to one of the Propolis factories. They pay for all the freight. They pay to do the extraction. Well, I guess I do really, because it reflects on how much money I get paid back. But at the end of the season, they pay for the freight to them. They pay for the freight back to me, so I get my own mats back. So my disease is my problem, not someone else's, or potential disease. And they then pay me how much they extract from them. So I just want to go through, and we're going to show you how and where we place these. I've deliberately used this one that's got the hole in the middle, because here's your honey box, or your the top box. It can only go on the very top box, whether it's the first box, the second box, the third box, whatever, it's always the top one. At that stage we can just sit that on top there. I get one of my hive mats and I sit that on there like that. The bees can't get out or any other such thing. A lid goes directly on the top, right? Telling you to suck eggs. But what do we do if we put a feeder on? And that was the question. Well, If you've got this one, you've got to take it away because the bees can't get to the feeder. But if you've got this one here, I can now put my feeder on the top and the bees can come through the gap, through here, up through this mound and get into the syrup that's up in here. We always also have a bee saver on here. We're not going to bother to show a bee saver because that's just sort of telling you to suck more eggs. But it's just a where do you put, or how do you put your propolis mat when you've got a feeder on. So you can do that, or if you want, you can cut a hole in the propolis mat yourself. But the manufacturers have decided that they would put one in for you. So that's that. Normally it just sits like that with a lid over the top. However, as a little side issue, something that I have found through all the inspections that I do and go and see a lot of other places, all my hive mats on here look like this. Got a little bit of markings on some of them, whatever, but generally they're all clean. I don't have my hive mats never stick to the boxes. But this is what happens when you don't use a propolis mat. This is just burr comb that the bees have stuck on here. They stick every one of these frames to the hive mat, and they are an absolute cow of a job to get off. When they're stuck down here like that, you really got to pry them up. As you start to pry them up, all the frames are stuck to them. You've got to reach underneath and lever them apart. You can see how much propolis is on the sides here where they've sealed it all down. When you go to put these back, if you don't scrape them clean, they don't sit down right, and more propolis gets on here, they build more wax out. This has already been scraped down the week before, but I've got this lot. So last week this was had been all cleaned down, and now this week it's already built this up again in another week. So if you want wax, and just wax, this is good. If you don't want wax and you want propolis, that's the way to go. And if you're like me, you like a clean house, this is the way to go. So that's it from Trevs Bees, Facebook and YouTube. Using a propolis mat with a top feeder.